Former Majority Leader and Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell just got some devastating news about his legacy. Yes, the man once credited by Washington Post reporter Dana Milbank as, quote, the man who broke America, end quote, may have thought he was paving the way for the future. But based on this news story, he will only have Americans, including Republicans, lining up to spit on his grave. Details next, here on The David Reddish Show. Hello, my beautiful Occupy Democrats viewers. I'm David Reddish, and thank you for joining me again. Before we examine this new dumpster fire, a special thank you to all of you who reached out with good thoughts or Ko-Fi donations as I had my jaw surgery last week. And please excuse any leftover swelling. Also, if you haven't done it yet, please follow the link in the description to subscribe to our new channel. You will stay up to date on all politics news here in the United States, including funny stories like this one. How could anyone ever forget Mitch McConnell, the most loathed man in America? Which, given our currently possibly syphilitic president, says something. This is the man who stole Supreme Court seats, who purposely sabotaged Donald Trump's second impeachment, and spent a career making life harder for working Americans. Just 1 year ago, he made the best announcement of his career.
Former Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell will not seek re-election in 2026. In a speech announcing his decision to retire after 7 terms in office, the Kentucky Republican told his Senate colleagues there's still work to do.
The work of strengthening America's hard power was well underway when I arrived in the Senate. But since then, we've allowed that power to atrophy. So lest any of our colleagues still doubt my intentions for the remainder of my term, I have some unfinished business to attend to.
Finally, Mitch has decided to leave office and leave all of us in peace. What could be better than that? Stay tuned. At 83, it seems like Mitch McConnell is in failing health, and not just because of his tendency to freeze up mid-sentence. After stepping back from his role as Republican leader in the Senate, he's also had his share of health problems.
And this just in the WLKY newsroom, U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell has been released from a Washington, D.C. hospital more than a week after he was admitted. The 83-year-old was being treated for flu-like symptoms. A spokesperson tells us he's feeling better now, but will follow doctors' instructions to work from home this week. McConnell is serving his 7th term in Congress. He decided not to run for re-election this year after 40 years in Washington.
You know what's funny about that flu diagnosis? I think it just served to remind Americans that the man is actually alive. It's easy to forget sometimes. For a while, I even thought Mitch McConnell was a product of the Jim Henson Creature Workshop. A very, very shoddy puppet. Learning that McConnell has the flu just reminds me that the Muppet people create much more believable characters than Mitch McConnell. But wait, you say. So what if he's loathed? Republicans love him, right? He's done so much for the party. Well, that may be true, and it may be what compelled McConnell to serve so long. But, as it turns out, his legacy is already coming apart. Take a look at this. This morning, the Washington Post reports that, at present, 3 Republicans are locked in a battle for the Republican nomination to replace McConnell, and all 3 of them are running on bashing McConnell to varying degrees. In fact, for all his achievements in the Senate, McConnell has always been unpopular, even in Kentucky. And get this, the 3 men running in the primary for his seat are all running anti-Mitch McConnell campaigns, and all 3 of them used to work for the man. Daniel Cameron, the former Kentucky Attorney General, once considered a McConnell protege, is running ads of himself throwing a cardboard cutout of McConnell in the trash. If you ask me, he should be burning the thing, but never mind. Cameron also attacks McConnell for his confirmation of Kristi Noem, Pete Hegseth, and Robert Kennedy Jr., which is just good taste. Nate Morris, a businessman backed by national MAGA stars like J.D. Vance, is also running on an anti-McConnell platform. Morris said, quote, "This is a fight for the future of the Republican Party, Donald Trump's Republican Party. And certainly, if you're with Mitch McConnell, you're not part of that future," close quote. Andy Barr, the 3rd candidate in the mix, is also trying to distance himself from McConnell, instead highlighting that he was Trump's campaign chairman in Kentucky in 2024. And the bashing continues all the way through the May 19th primary, so have that popcorn ready. And what may be great political schadenfreude theater for the rest of us will be one sour swan song for Mitch McConnell. This is a man, after all, who became so power-craven that he wrecked Congress in the process, let a man who started a violent insurrection go unpunished, and let Americans suffer on a host of issues from affordability of healthcare to pollution to basic democratic norms. He may have thought the future would be Mitch McConnell's America, and in some ways it will be. But that won't stop the people he thought he was nurturing from tearing him apart. And that's not counting the rest of us who, if the man died of cancer, would send sympathy cards to his tumors. So, Mitch, if you're watching, and you're still lucid enough to understand me, this is the life and legacy you've created. One of loathing and dysfunction, corruption and embarrassment. And if you are remembered at all, it will be in the same breath as Benedict Arnold and Joe McCarthy and Herbert Hoover and a litany of other villains who hurt the United States and the world. And I hope that offers you some comfort in your final days in office. And congratulations on your one last bipartisan achievement. America has come together to hate you, Senator. Enjoy your legacy. This is the David Reddish Show.